IPL 2020 has introduced a new word into the cricketing lexicon. If you've been Tewatiad, it basically means that you've won a game from an impossible position. Welcome to another episode of End of Days Play, and you're watching Uninvited Opinions. Nags, it was a fantastic day of cricket. We saw two close games, uh, which middling totals, but was great to see a contest between bat and ball.
Absolutely. And I felt it reminded us of those good old fashioned one day cricket, build up the innings, set up the pace, make a good platform, and then, if possible, launch at the end of the innings to get a competitive score. And the chasing side also had a similar strategy, try and preserve the wickets and try and take it as deep as possible, and then see if the target is within reach.
It was a good day for teams chasing, and I think if the for the rest of the tournament, if the totals are going to be around this range, then it'll give chasing teams a lot of confidence. And let's talk about the first of those two games between the Rajasthan Royals and the Sunrisers Hyderabad. I thought, given the nature of Sunrisers' bowling attack, I thought they got a decent total. They had a difficult start to begin with, but they sort of weathered through that period, and then David Warner and Manish Pandey put together a very good partnership, and then that was followed by some late order hitting by Kane Williamson and Priyam Garg to set them to a good defendable total. And the Sunrisers bowlers began strongly. They bowled very well, taking out the big three from Rajasthan: Ben Stokes, Steven Smith, and Josh Butler within the power play. And at that point in time, it felt that we are going through a repeat of what Rajasthan have suffered in the previous games. And I was ready to write my obituary when that man, Rahul Tewatia, this time in the company of Riyan Parag, pulled off another rabbit out of the hat.
I believe going into the mid innings break, both the teams would have been reasonably satisfied. Sunrisers would have thought that they have just about touched the par score and they could defend it, and Rajasthan would have been happy with their bowling effort. Considering that it was a sluggish pitch, they made the right changes. They brought in Unadkat again in place of Aaron to avoid that pace on the ball. With Stokes being available, he had to be brought in, and unfortunately, it was Yashasvi Jaiswal who had to make way for him at the top of the order, which was quite surprising, I must say. But
Yes.
probably coming in and playing his first knock after such a long break, it made sense that he was provided with the pace on the ball. So only for that one reason, I think it was a good decision to open with Stokes. But obviously, he didn't stay long. And once the top order crumbled for unknown reasons, why things are going wrong so early in the innings for Rajasthan in their batting. Steve Smith must be wondering what is he doing wrong if he's not playing. He actually looked poised to actually build the innings and go deep into the chase. But unfortunately, a brain fade moment, as in Steve Smith's words, where they attempted a second run, which was unnecessarily too risky. And he ended up falling short. Sanju Samson obviously had decided that he needs to bat longer. He put his head down, he tried his best, and Robin Uthappa as well, and gave some form of a partnership. But then they should have actually carried on. But then looking at the way Rashid Khan was bowling, I wouldn't want to be a batsman. I know I'm not very good at my batting skills, but the way he is bamboozling batsmen, it's so difficult to pick his wrong one. And therefore, every other ball you have to basically keep guessing. And if you are actually trying to read him off the pitch, it's too late because it's too fast through the air. So he actually got both Uthappa and Sanju Samson in spite of them being circumspect. And then you were left wondering, oh my God, 72 for 5. I think this is all over with Rashid Khan having one more over up his sleeve. And then the two youngsters basically, I don't know if Rahul Tewatia is necessarily a youngster. So in the company of Riyan Parag, I must say how well they kept their cool and they picked their spots and picked their bowlers to attack and decided to take the innings deep and came up with a very useful partnership that ended up getting Rajasthan over the line. After a string of four defeats, they must be mighty pleased. They tried ever so hard at the top to lose the game, but the rookies turned out to be tough cookies.
Absolutely, well said. And I think there was a point, I think it was in the 16th over, Khalil Ahmed was bowling. Riyan Parag, I think, went for a slog across the line. There was a top edge, which Priyam Garg just overran, missed the ball completely, and you couldn't even call it a drop because he didn't touch the ball. So that was I think the real turning point, because at the end of that over, Riyan Parag got going with a big six over deep square leg, and then that basically got the ball rolling, and then it was just tremendous. What do you call it? They were just so calm, and I think that's the point that we were discussing about Kings 11 yesterday, where they they lost a match which they should have won. Whereas RR, having been in the same position, I think they just had that confidence, and they just carried forward that confidence. And maybe Tewatia had that self belief, and that sort of rubbed on to Riyan Parag as well, and it was fascinating to watch. For once, the Sunrisers bowlers lost their nerve. They didn't, conceded too many runs. Rashid Khan was taken for 3 boundaries in the 18th over, and I think that sealed the deal. At that point in time, you knew this was Rajasthan's game, and it was fantastic to watch. Your pick for the man of the match?
Rahul Tewatia, undoubtedly. Not to forget, he had a reasonable outing with the ball as well. And then the innings that brought life back into Rajasthan's chase. So Tewatia for sure.
And an honorable mention for Riyan Parag as well. I love the little jig that he did at the end of the game when Rajasthan won. It was lovely to watch. Let's look at the second game that we had today. It was the top of the table clash between the Mumbai Indians and the Delhi Capitals, being played at Abu Dhabi, which is the slowest pitch among the 3 venues. And it was a fascinating game to watch. If I look at the game, I thought Delhi lost the game in the power plays, both while they were batting and while they were bowling. When they were batting, I think the Mumbai Indians bowlers, they were very good with their with their lines and lengths. They didn't let the Delhi top orders get away with the scoring rate. I think until about the 10th or 11th over, they were still between the 6.5, 7 runs per over range, which I think really sort of kept them down and didn't give them the much needed boost. And with Marcus Stoining unfortunately being run out today, Delhi didn't get that late order boost. And then when it came to their bowling, again, Mumbai Indians really took the game away from them in the power play. Quinton de Kock was just in brilliant form. He smashed the bowlers all around. And although Rabada didn't go for that many, Nokia, uncharacteristically went for a few today, as did Ashwin and Akshar Patel. And I think that those 2 passages of play in both power plays was what was the difference between winning and losing for Delhi today.
It was, again, as I mentioned, pretty much old-fashioned good cricket. So Mumbai at the top had Trent Bolt bowling a typical test match line, ball curving back into the right-hander. Prithvi Shaw, whether he's playing him in New Zealand or in the UAE, fell prey to him. So it was the crafty, the swing bowling of Trent Bolt. And I thought for once, Ajinkya Rahane, who must have been a last-minute addition because of the reordering in the team balance due to injury to Rishabh Pant, was actually a good addition to have to walk in at number 3, because at that moment I felt Bolt was at the top of his game, and if he had actually knocked over Shreyas Iyer, that would have meant a big dent in the Delhi batting confidence. So it was good that Rahane soaked in that pressure. He played beautifully. It was although a very brief innings, but it was very useful. Those attributes of bat and pad together and a strong defense and playing the ball late under the eye, those will hold you in good stead regardless of what format of cricket you're playing. So that was a good passage of play. It was attacking cricket from Mumbai, and Delhi actually soaked in that pressure. Of course, Krunal Pandya needs a very honorable mention. He had a very tight spell and got Rahane out. And then, yes, as you said, although Iyer and Dhawan stitched a good partnership, but the partnership never really ran away from Mumbai's hold. So it was always around the 6.5, 7.5 at max. That was the rate at which they were going. And we were always left wondering, is this the time that they are beginning to accelerate? But that time never came. And eventually, when Iyer tried to slog Krunal Pandya, he fell again. Because that was almost the time that somebody had to go. And in walked Stoinis, and he actually started promisingly. And yes, the 17th over, I think, is when he got run out. And that meant the last 3 overs lacked the firepower that Delhi would have ideally liked. And I think that meant they fell at least 15 short of the ideal total that they would have set in their mind. And those 15 runs could have been quite vital in the final outcome, because Mumbai at no stage looked troubled during the chase. So although the match ended up in the 20th over, even in the chasing innings, but Mumbai were always in control. So as you mentioned, Quinton de Kock actually attacked beautifully, and took the best bowlers on from the opposition. And whether it was spinners or the express pace of Nokia, he was just hoiking them over for six, and that was beautiful. And Surya Kumar Yadav, my God, he is just beginning to raise these questions in every circle, that why isn't he being considered ever for an India cap? He played beautifully. And I think loss of Rohit Sharma actually added to the tempo of Mumbai innings, because Rohit Sharma was actually not getting going today. And
True.
Surya Kumar Yadav, in partnership with Quinton de Kock, took the game away. And even at the loss of Quinton de Kock, Ishan Kishan played a nice little gem, and that meant that Delhi never really got the hold on top of Mumbai batting. And although there were some late wickets, but there was no such panic as what we saw yesterday from Kings 11. So that goes to show how what a well-rounded side Mumbai is. I know I'm going to be repeating myself here, but then outside of Saurabh Tiwari going out and Ishan Kishan coming in, they have actually not made any change in their team lineup, starting lineup. That is staggering. And they have played 7 games. That is half the tournament with the same starting 11,
Yeah.
virtually.
Yeah, and I think there are a couple of things which probably hurt Delhi today. Well, we talked about the Soinus run out. He's the one who's been giving them the late order ballast. Hetmeyer's absence because of the injury to Pant, I think that was a big blow to them, because he is again someone in good batting form. Especially today, they would have liked to probably send him up the order if he was available, and go after the bowling. That didn't happen, and I thought they probably also urged strategically by sending in Rahane Iyer ahead of Iyer, because Iyer has been their best batsman this tournament. And I would have thought, yes, they wanted to probably give Rahane some game time, but you'd want your best batsman to be facing, a team like Mumbai for as many overs as possible. And you could see that as soon as Iyer came on board, he looked in great touch. He upped the scoring rate immediately. So probably that's another thing that they'd probably look at today's game and think maybe we should have done that differently. So that means, Mumbai are now sitting pretty at the top of the table, even though Mumbai and Delhi Capitals are on the same points. Mumbai has a superior net run rate. And your choice for the man of the match?
It was a toss-up between Quinton de Kock and Surya Kumar. If I would say, probably for the initiative that Quinton de Kock earned for Mumbai at the power play, he was rightly awarded the man of the match. Although Surya Kumar actually scored at a higher strike rate than Quinton, just for the sheer impact that innings, that start had, Quinton de Kock was indeed the right choice for the man of the match.
Looking at tomorrow's game, it's between the Royal Challengers Bangalore and the Kolkata Knight Riders, which is going to take place at Sharjah. We've seen the past couple of games, Sharjah is no longer the 200 kind of a wicket. So who are you going to back tomorrow?
Ooh, tough choice. Both the teams are actually coming on the back of 2 victories. I would say RCB are having 2 comprehensive wins, and KKR have actually stolen those 2 victories. So basically, on that account, I would say RCB. But there's nothing to say KKR won't steal another victory there.
Yeah, it's a tough one to call, actually. I think it's probably Bangalore's first game at Sharjah. So I'm probably going to pick KKR just because they've played at Sharjah and, they've got the experience of playing at that ground. Although, if you look at RCB, they look at Sharjah and say, we play at the Chinnaswamy every year. So it's not any different. So let's see what happens tomorrow. That's a wrap on today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to our channel to keep more videos coming your way. Like and share this video with your friends. And stay tuned for more episodes. We'll see you again tomorrow. See ya.